Karbala. It is not just a place on the map. It is a wound in history that never heals. It is a voice that never becomes silent. It is a truth that refuses to die. It is the land where blood wrote the final message of faith and where sacrifice became the highest form of worship. The year was 61 AH, 680 CE, a desert near the Euphrates River, burning sand under the merciless sun. And in this silence of the desert stood a caravan, led by none other than the grandson of the Prophet of Islam, peace be upon him, Imam Hussain ibn Ali, along with his family, children, and a small group of loyal companions. Ahead of them stood an army, not just of soldiers, but of political power, fear, and tyranny. But this was never a battle for land. It was never a war for power. It was the eternal battle between truth and falsehood, between justice and oppression, between faith and corruption. And so begins one of the most heartbreaking and powerful stories ever written in human history.
After the passing of the Prophet Muhammad, the Muslim world went through major political changes. Over time, authority came into the hands of Muawiyah, who later established a ruling system based on monarchy rather than consultation. Before his death, he appointed his son Yazid ibn Muawiyah as his successor.
The previous arrangements are no longer to be continued. From this moment forward, allegiance must be given to the Yazid.
Yazid, a ruler whose leadership was widely rejected for its injustice and moral corruption. Upon taking power, Yazid demanded allegiance from the entire Muslim community. But there stood one man who could never bow before oppression, Imam Hussain, the beloved grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Fatima bint Muhammad, and the living symbol of prophetic truth. The governor of Medina was ordered to force Imam Hussain to pledge allegiance to Yazid. The night was silent. Darkness covered the city, and Imam Hussain was called for a meeting. The demand was clear: pledge loyalty to Yazid or face death. Imam Hussein's response changed history forever. He said,
"A person like me cannot give allegiance to a person like him."
This was not just a refusal. It was a declaration of eternal resistance against injustice. Imam Hussain knew that Medina was no longer safe, and so he made the difficult decision to leave. Before leaving, he visited the blessed grave of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, stood in deep grief, and bid farewell to his beloved grandfather. It is said that he wept for a long time, knowing the path ahead was filled with sacrifice. Imam Hussain moved toward Mecca. Soon, the city of Mecca became filled with pilgrims and supporters. During this time, thousands of letters arrived from Kufa. The message was repeated again and again. "O son of the Prophet of Allah, peace be upon him, come to us. We are waiting for you. We will support you against Yazid." To verify these claims, Imam Hussain sent his cousin and trusted envoy, Muslim ibn Aqil, to Kufa.
At first, the people of Kufa welcomed him. Thousands pledged allegiance. Hope was rising, but everything changed when Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad arrived.
He used fear as a weapon. Threats replaced loyalty, bribes replaced promises, and betrayal replaced faith. One by one, people abandoned Muslim ibn Aqil. He was left alone in a city that had once welcomed him with open arms. Eventually, he was captured and brutally martyred. His death revealed the reality of Kufa, a city of broken promises.
Imam Hussain had already left Mecca. He chose to leave before any violence could occur near the Holy Kaaba. Along the way, many warned him, "The people of Kufa are untrustworthy."
But Imam Hussain replied, "Whatever Allah wills will come to pass." His trust was not in people, but in God.
On the 2nd of Muharram, 61 AH, the caravan reached a land called Karbala. When Imam Hussain asked the name of the land, he was told, Karbala. He lowered his head and said, "This is the land of sorrow and trial." The tents were set up, and the family of the Prophet, peace be upon him, settled in the desert. Soon after, the army of Yazid blocked access to the Euphrates River. The heat intensified, and thirst began to spread. Children cried, "Water, water." The women endured in silence, while the camp of Imam Hussain stood under unbearable hardship. Among the bravest was Abbas ibn Ali, the standard bearer of Karbala, a symbol of loyalty and courage. He made several attempts to bring water for the children, but the siege tightened. On the 9th night of Muharram, Imam Hussain gathered his companions. He extinguished the lamps and said, "You are free to leave. They only want me." But not a single companion left. Habib ibn Mudahir stood and declared, "If we are killed 1,000 times, we will never leave you." That night was filled with prayer, recitation of the Quran, and tears, a night of preparation for eternity.
The 10th of Muharram, a day that would forever divide history. After the morning prayer, silence fell over Karbala. One by one, the companions of Imam Hussain went forward and were martyred. Then came the family of the Prophet.
Ali Akbar ibn Hussain entered the battlefield. He resembled Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in appearance and character. Imam Hussain looked toward the sky and said, "O Allah, bear witness upon this young man." Ali Akbar fought bravely and was eventually martyred. Next came Qasim ibn Hassan, a young boy, yet filled with courage beyond his age. He too was martyred in battle. The cries from the tents grew louder. Then came Abbas ibn Ali. He rode toward the Euphrates, fought through the enemy, and reached the water. But he did not drink. He remembered the thirst of the children. On his return, his arms were severed. An arrow struck the water skin, and the water spilled onto the sand. He fell and called out, "O Hussein." When Imam Hussain reached him, he said, "Now my back is broken." One of the most heartbreaking moments. The 6-month-old infant, Ali al-Asghar ibn Hussain, was carried into the battlefield. Imam Hussain pleaded for water, but instead of mercy, an arrow was fired. The infant was martyred in his father's arms. Even the sky seemed to tremble. At last, Imam Hussain stood alone, wounded, thirsty, exhausted, yet spiritually unbroken. He looked toward the tents one final time. Zainab watched in tears. Children cried in fear, but no help came. Then Shimr ibn Di al-Jawshan advanced, and the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was martyred in the desert of Karbala.
The tents were burned, the women were taken captive, and the children were left in grief. But Karbala did not end there, because Imam Hussein's sacrifice became immortal.
Karbala teaches humanity that truth may stand alone, but it never loses. Oppression may have power, but it never wins forever. Centuries have passed, yet the name of Karbala still shakes hearts, because Karbala is not history. It is a living truth. It is faith. It is sacrifice. It is resistance. And it is the eternal message that dignity is greater than life itself.